Hi there, George Tait with mindtapped.com, mindtapped.com, and I'm here to talk about the Super Bowl, the 45th Super Bowl. Now, if you don't know me and never met me before, let me give you a bit of background. I don't care about sports at all. So why am I talking about the Super Bowl? Well, what I am interested in is the human mind. I'm interested in patterns and patterns in life and mathematics just a little bit. I'm no math expert, but I like finding patterns within things. I also like to examine the psychology behind the way different things work. I perform I perform a theatrical mind reading show literally all around the world. I've been in 4 different countries, maybe not all around the world, some around the world. Really. I performed in 4 different countries doing what I do best. That said, I have been sitting down and studying the last 44 games of the Super Bowl. This is the raw data on who played, where they played, what the score was, what the weather was doing that day. Just kidding about the weather. That's not part of it. But all the games in the last 44 years. And this year, the 45th game, the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are playing against the Green Bay Packers. They both have been to the Super Bowl multiple times before. The Packers have been in a total of 4 games over the last 44 years, and the Steelers have been in a total of 7 games. So what's interesting is they've both played before, and they both just lost once before. That's one correlation that they have. Just looking at the raw data, I do find a couple interesting things about it before I go forth and tell you what my actual prediction of the game is going to be. The first 2 games of the Super Bowl, 1967-1968, the Green Bay Packers played back-to-back games, winning both games. Right off the bat, that's pretty cool. Back-to-back games, winning both of them, first 2 Super Bowls out of the gate. That's pretty rad. On top of that, they smoked their opponents both games, okay? The Oakland Raiders was the second group they played, the Kansas City Chiefs were the first group. The scores there were 35-10 the first year and 33-14 the second year. What I find interesting is adding these scores up. So the first score, if you take the winning score and the losing score, 35-10, you get 45, okay? If you take the second year they played, 33-14, add those together, you get 47. So they have this tiering up. They didn't return again until 1997. The Packers played against the Patriots, 35-21. Again, they didn't completely smoke them. Add those together, you get a 56, but they did a pretty dang good job. Now in 98, they played the Broncos, and unfortunately they lost 31-24, and that's a 55. So it's a slight dip. So you have this tiering going up and a slight dip on the game that they lost. Coincidentally enough, if you go and you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the first game the Steelers played was in 1975. Again, a back-to-back games in 75 and 76. And they played the Minnesota Vikings, and the following year, the Dallas Cowboys. Again, they smoked their opponent that first year, 16-6, just like the Green Bay Packers doing the 35-10, completely smoking their competition. You add those together, you get a 22. The next year, against the Cowboys, they played a 21-17 game. You add those together, you get a 38. Again, you have that tiering going up. They didn't play another game until 1979, a 35-31 game, playing against the Dallas Cowboys, which is interesting that they're playing the Cowboys again, because the last game they played in the Super Bowl was against the Cowboys. And again, the game's close. They did win. It was a 35-31, which isn't surprising because they had just played them a few years before that. Add those together, you get a 66. All right, you jump up to 1980. They played the Los Angeles Rams, smoked the team, of course, 31-19. Add those together, you get 50. So you have that, again, that slight dip there in the addition, because we have this tiering and that slight dip, very similar to the Packers, except they didn't actually lose that 4th game. All right, there's about a 15-year gap, because they didn't return again to the Super Bowl until 96, where they played against the Cowboys again, and unfortunately this time they lost. So you have that further decline there, 27-17 game, they lost, total 44. Very, very interesting. Again, they don't return again to the Super Bowl until 2006, and then again in 2009, not back-to-back. There's a 2-year gap, but the 9 and the 6 is sort of an ambergrammy thing of itself, which probably has nothing to do with anything, but it's an interesting coincidence. But they did play the Seattle Seahawks with a 21-10 game, smoking their opponents with a total of 31, and again, the final game they played was in 09 against the Cardinals, 27-23, and of course add those together, you get 50. So it's interesting that they would end in the 50s, and the Packers ended in the 50s in the combination of scores. So that brings us right up to date to 2011, this coming Sunday. And by the way, I haven't mentioned it yet, but today is February 4th, 2011, and there it is on my phone for those of you who don't believe that I'm really recording this at 1:33 in the morning. I need to go to bed. It's 2011, Friday, February 4th. There it is. I can't change the time on a Verizon phone, so if you don't believe me, it's Verizon's fault. So that's the raw data. What's my prediction? I think the Packers are going to win the game. Hands down, 100%, they're going to beat the Steelers. Packers beat the Steelers. 2011 Super Bowl of 45th. That's my prediction. I'm George Tait. Please visit me on the web at mindtapped.com. By the way, if I'm wrong, anybody who comments on this video, and if I'm wrong, and only if I'm wrong, I will give everyone who comments $100 of my own personal money if I'm wrong on this prediction. Please visit me on the web, mindtapped.com. You can see the other videos at youtube.com/mindtapped. I'm George Tait. I'll see you after the Super Bowl.